Ohio continues its streak of predicting the election outcome. To recap from our previous video, the candidate that wins Ohio has gone on to win the election since 1904 with the exception of 1960. Hillary Clinton won 9 counties in Ohio, representing half of the state's popular vote, while Trump won 79 out of 88 counties in Ohio.
In the presidential election, Donald Trump won Ohio with 52% to Hillary Clinton's 43.5%, solidifying Trump's win by 8.5%. Clinton won 3 of the largest counties in Ohio, which encompassed Columbus, Cincinnati, and Cleveland.
While Ohio was blue in the 2012 election, as we predicted, the state turned red this past November. Trump won 30 out of 88 counties to win by 70% or more. This was a crucial swing state for Trump, and the backing of many rural areas gave him the lead he needed. Many factors came into play to help Trump in the swing states like Ohio, and luckily for him, the voter turnout was one of them. Voters turned out less in 2016 than 2012, which hurt Clinton. Trump proved to be more popular than Romney, especially in the rising of Hispanic votes.
In this election, there were several critical groups of voters that were sought after by each campaign. Some of the critical groups in Ohio were women, voters over the age of 29, independents, and minority voters. Hillary only won 49% of women in Ohio, which includes all races. This was not a large enough margin to compete with the 59% of men that stuck with Trump. Trump won a higher margin of votes in every age group over the age of 29, which adds up to 81% of the electorate in Ohio. Trump swayed independent men by a larger margin than Hillary swayed independent women. Independents were 29% of the voters, and Trump got 51% of independent votes. According to CNN, Clinton won 88% of black votes in Ohio. African Americans comprised 14% of the electorate. Latinos were 3% of the electorate, and Hillary won 67% to Trump's 26%. Latinos were a crucial group to the Clinton campaign. In order to win Ohio, she would have had to win by a larger margin.
As we predicted, Rob Portman won in a landslide, winning 84 out of 88 counties. He won by 21.6% over Ted Strickland. A course concept we discussed in class is incumbency advantage. Portman was well funded, and Strickland, a former governor, was dealt the blame for the failing economy of Ohio, which Portman took credit for turning around.
Portman may have won by a larger margin, but Strickland was strongly supported by non-white voters. Exit polls show that 20% of the electorate is non-white and 73% of the votes went to Strickland.
The result of the campaign for Senate can be further explained by national trends. According to OpenSecrets.org, re-election rates for members of Congress are extremely high. Since 1964, the lowest re-election rates in the House of Representatives occurred in 1980 and 2010, where in both years 85% of incumbents won. The re-election rate hit over 95% 11 times during this period. For the Senate, the low is a bit lower at 55% in 1980, but that year was an outlier. On average, the incumbent wins just over 82% of Senate elections. This data is indicative of both the results of the Senate race in Ohio and of the strong power of the incumbency advantage in congressional elections.
Republicans overall had a great year. Analysts and pundits attribute this to the concept of coattails. In class, we discussed this concept of riding in on a popular candidate's coattail. Donald Trump did well nationally, and state, Senate, and House candidates did well as a result.
A course concept discussed in class was how voters decide. 3 factors influence voters' choice. First, voters will create narratives through byproduct information about candidates. Next, voters trust gut rationality using their instinct to make choices. And finally, voters care more about personal information because it is easier to digest than the candidate's policy proposals.